What's up, everyone? The 2024 and 2025 season is just days away, and while the big stars like LeBron, Jokic, and Giannis always steal the spotlight, there's a whole group of under-the-radar players who are poised to be the real difference makers this season. Today, we're breaking down the players you need to watch this season. Guys who might not be headlining the highlight reel on SportsCenter every night, but are absolutely crucial to their team's success. And let's be real, this is a big year for many of them in varying degrees. Can they step up and meet the hype, or will the pressure be too much? Okay, so let's take a look. First up is the honorable mentions of contract years. Many players each season are in contract years, where we see some inflated numbers or levels of play in order to secure that next bag. But two we want to look closely at are Jimmy Butler and Julius Randle. Jimmy Butler enters his contract year due to player option next year. His high salary with the Heat has been a success with 2 finals appearances in the last 5 years, and once again, he'll be the engine that drives the Heat's success. After not receiving a rumored extension, Jimmy has come in somewhat of a more serious demeanor this offseason compared to previous. And also, don't forget the public dressing down he got from Pat Riley
against Boston or on the court playing against the New York Knicks. You should keep your mouth shut.
Seem Jimmy has all the motivation, but with age creeping in, he's 35 now, and no major offseason additions for the team, Butler needs another heroic season to keep Miami in any form of threat in the East. It's quite tough out there now, and we might see if the Heat move off Butler, if not. Julius Randle's situation is fascinating. He's coming off a season where he averaged 24 and 9 with the Knicks, but he also played the fewest games he has since his rookie year due to a late season shoulder injury forcing him to miss the playoffs. Given the Knicks' postseason success, this didn't do much for the criticism of his playoff performances as of recent. Now, he's entering a contract year with the $30 million player option on a greatly different team in a new role. Presumably, this is what the Wolves wanted, is the flexibility with Randle's salary compared to Karl Anthony Towns. But Randle will still need to prove that he's more than just a regular season performer with the Wolves. The Wolves last year made a great run last postseason. Randle still has the looming questions of how he can perform in the playoffs over his head. Will we get the All-NBA Randle or the pouty ball stopper we've seen at times in New York? Something to watch, and I'll definitely be tuning in. Now with the honorable mentions out of the way, the first player I'm going to be tuning into this season is Zach Edey, the towering 7'4" center from Purdue. Edey decided to head back to school after winning the Wooden Award in 2023, but now he's ready for the NBA, declaring for this year's draft and getting picked by the Memphis Grizzlies with the number 9. His dominance in college, averaging 22, 12, and 2 blocks per game, Edey looked like a surefire star. But here's the catch. Edey's game is built around old school place play, and the NBA has shifted dramatically towards speed, shooting, and versatility. We've seen bigs in his mold previously struggle to get minutes despite their size or their skill in modern NBA. I mean, really, who's just dumping it down there more than 4 times a game? It seems like Edey might buck this trend so far, though. In preseason games, Edey is holding averages of 12 points on 50% shooting and 7 rebounds, along with just under 1 block. This is all in 20 minutes. It's also the eye test here on the floor. He looks comfortable, and developing chemistry with superstar Ja Morant and his return to the Grizzlies might just be the sleeper team for a packed West. The media has also backed this up. ESPN's Jonathan Givony saying Edey has the potential to be an impact player in the NBA, but it's about finding the right fit. If a team can utilize his size, he could be a game changer. So, can the lack of his perimeter defense and limited mobility keep him on the floor in a modern NBA that values versatility? This season, it's all about proving he can keep up with the faster, more agile NBA bigs. If he can carve out a role, he might just be the X factor for a team needing a strong inside presence. And lastly, if not for anything else, we don't really have any players like Edey in the league. So if any of what I've said just doesn't do it for you, tuning in to see something different and a little weird should. Next up is another big in a different archetype, Chet Holmgren, the number 2 overall pick in 2022, who finally had his long-awaited NBA debut season after missing all of 2022-23 with a foot injury. Holmgren came back strong in 23-24, putting up 14 points per game, 9 rebounds, and 2.5 blocks per game. But the real story was his defense. Holmgren's shot blocking ability and the ability he also has to switch out on multiple positions gave the Oklahoma City Thunder a defensive edge they desperately needed. The Thunder had a great offseason, adding key needs in Alex Caruso and Isaiah Hartenstein. Both will help Chet in different ways, but even with these new additions, the same concern for Chet remains. The Thunder need Holmgren to become a more consistent and efficient scorer both inside and out. The new additions are more complementary rather than game-changing offensive forces. Chet is a unicorn in every sense, but the key will be keeping him healthy, said Thunder coach Mark Daigneault. His length and skills are rare, but we need him on the court. And Coach Daigneault is right. Durability is a concern, especially when they're asking Chet to utilize his rare skill package. So far, we've seen flashes in the preseason, putting it on the floor and driving, which is great, as varied lineups in OKC can roll out this season. Chet will need to be more dynamic in dual big lineups. Either way, Thunder are a definitive contender and will go even further and solidify championship status pending Chet's dominance as a clear third option. So star potential is in reach for Holmgren. Developing physically and proving that the Thunder can rely on him to push this young, exciting team further definitely will have one of my League Pass viewings. Going back east, Franz Wagner is coming off stellar off seasons with the incredible FIBA World Cup run where he helped Germany secure gold, and more recently the respectable showing in the Olympics this year. The Magic will be hoping Franz can translate this into postseason success as they look ready for a playoff push. The 2023-24 campaign, where he averaged 19 points, 5 rebounds, and 3 assists per game for the Magic, the 6'9" forward has quietly become one of the most versatile young players in the league, and a secondary playmaker in his young Magic team. But while Wagner has been great, there's still pressure on him to take another leap. Orlando has a core featuring obviously Wagner, Paolo Banchero, and Jalen Suggs finding his footing. Many thought the Magic would add some additional scoring and shot creation in the form of Malik Monk this offseason, with a lot of rumors swelling, but Monk opted to stay in Sacramento. We instead saw KCP, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, leave Denver for Orlando, and they bring him in. While it's still a great signing, both defensively and stretching the floor with his spot-up shooting, it indicates the Magic still have faith in Wagner to become the player that they need him to be, next to Paolo, who, by the way, is kind of looking like a young Carmelo Anthony. The biggest area of opportunity for Franz is very clear. Although his numbers have steadily improved, his shooting has dropped off immensely, going from 35% in his rookie year, now to 28% in his third year, with it dropping down to a low of 26% in the Magic's first playoffs last season. He needs to be better with this core. Wagner is the kind of player who does everything well, but now it's time to take the leap from good to great, said Magic coach Jamal Mosley. With Banchero getting most of the attention, Wagner needs to prove that he's not just a complimentary piece, but a future all-star who can lead the Magic back to the playoffs when needed. This year is critical for his rise. Moving to Houston for the next player, I have Alperen Sengun. He is quickly becoming one of the most exciting young bigs in the league. After a breakout 23-24 season where he averaged 15 points, 9 rebounds, and 4 assists, Sengun's ability to play make from the post drew comparisons to Nikola Jokic and the Kings center Domantas Sabonis. He's the kind of big who can facilitate, rebound, and score. Everything you want in a modern center. So what's the problem? Kind of sounds perfect, huh? Well, here's the issue. Sengun late last season went down with an injury, and the Rockets played their last 18 games of the season without him and looked significantly better. Going to a 12-6 record shows that the struggles defensively that Alperen had, they could be mitigated. During his absence, the team's defensive rating jumped from 113 to 116. The Rockets being more effective defensively when relying on other players who could switch more easily and contest shots better. It was very clear. Sengun is often a liability in the pick and roll situations. This is not to say that the Rockets are a defensive powerhouse. While improving, it is an issue that needs addressing though, if they want to take the next step. In Sengun's absence also, Jalen Green stepped up and looked every part of the high lottery pick he was. So there's curiosity there now how the two will vie for the top dog status in the media. With the Rockets aiming for real progression this season, Sengun has to prove he can be more than just an offensive weapon. If he can step up his defense, he might just be the centerpiece of Houston's rebuild next to Green and Smith Jr. But if not, don't be surprised if the rumors heat up and Coach Udoka looks elsewhere for rim protection. Either way, they seem to be a high ceiling with how we know modern basketball is played, which would indicate maybe a move on from Sengun, but also a lower basement team without him. And if there's any coach that can figure this out, I trust in Ime Udoka. So I'll be tuning in to see. Okay, back east, we're going to Atlanta. And in Atlanta, I'm looking at two young players that could shine in Jalen Johnson and Onyeka Okongwu. With the departure of DeJounte Murray, Johnson is primed to take over as a secondary playmaker from the forward spot. Last season, he showed flashes, averaging 16 points, up from 9, and doubled his rebounds from 4 to 8 per game when rewarded with minutes. But now, the Hawks need him to step into the 3 assists per game more. Question is, can he handle the increased workload? Johnson has the athleticism to be a key contributor, and his shooting is respectable at 35% from deep. Coach Snyder's new motion system will be looking to see if JJ can turn into a double-double machine this year and push the Hawks maybe back into the play-in, complementing the play of Trae Young. Meanwhile, Onyeka Okongwu is on the verge of becoming Atlanta's next defensive anchor. With Clint Capella aging and the Hawks looking to transition to a younger core, Onyeka's shot blocking and versatility would be essential. Last season, he averaged 10 points, 6 rebounds, and 1 block, but there was pressure on him after the reward of his extension to improve these numbers as a rim protector and rebounder. Okongwu has all the tools to be a top-tier defensive big, but consistency is the next step, said Hawks GM Landry Fields. This is a big year for him to prove he can be a starting center. Both Johnson and Okongwu have huge roles to play this season. The Hawks are counting on them to fill gaps, and if they can't take that next step, Atlanta's playoff hopes could fade fast, and we might even see a Trae Young trade as a result of it. Looking at that and keeping a close eye there. Lastly, we're staying in the East for one of my favorite players with LaMelo Ball. LaMelo Ball's 2023-24 season was a roller coaster as he battled through injuries, only playing 22 games, but still putting up stellar numbers. Averaging 23 points, 8 assists, and 5 rebounds, he remains the face of the Hornets, but questions around his durability loom large after missing a significant time in each of the last 2 seasons, and his ability to be the leader of the team more importantly. With Ball's unique court vision and natural scoring ability, he can elevate Charlotte's offense to another level, along with the emergence and running mate Brandon Miller. It's really the time for Melo to prove his worth and break into the playoff picture. In his 4 preseason games, his numbers of 14 points, 4 rebounds, and 6 assists look favorable, but the standout to me was the 38% from 3. If that goes to by anything in terms of Melo stepping up and taking the reins of these teams for year 4, count me in. I just love to see this kid play basketball and looking forward to more of it. And there you have it. There are the under the radar players that could make or break their success this season. Whether it's their contract situations, the development as young stars, or their ability to stay healthy, all of these players have something to prove in the 2024-25 season. The stakes are high for guys like Jimmy Butler, Julius Randle, who are looking to secure their futures in the league, while players like Chet and LaMelo are still carving out their legacies and to take leaps that their teams need them. Meanwhile, young talents like JJ and Franz are at critical points in development, with their teams relying heavily on them to start to produce in bigger ways. Which of these players will be a surprise this season and which might fade away? Let me know in the comments below, and also please hit the like button, really helps me grow guys, and subscribe if you want to be informed more about my bad takes. Till next time, bye.